his parents froze when it came to that category. Suddenly, oh, she loves the Lord, kind of dropped off. I remember, thinking about the question I was asked when I was dating my wonderful wife. This question that was asked, you are not going to believe, you're going to think I'm making this up. Are you an Oreo? So my eyebrow went up and then it went down because, culturally, contextual, I need to kind of keep it. I said, no. I'm black and I'm quite okay with being black. But the implication behind the question is that it would be easier for my wife if I were black just on the outside and white on the inside. Easier for my wife and easier for the people in her community to accept me than to accept someone who is authentically culturally black. But again, it goes beyond the category of race because we talk about race a lot. And even though this is one of the most diverse so-called college generations, we still quite haven't bridged these gaps. But it's interesting because we think about how Cornelius presents himself. Remember, Cornelius is a power person from Peter's perspective. But how Cornelius presents himself indicates that Cornelius himself experiences some sense of marginalization. Yes, he's the Roman centurion. Yes, he can call the Italian regiment and come and do what he wants to do. All of this, and he still presents himself as the marginal one. He still doesn't go on his own and command Peter to come. He gets some servants and begs them, please go and beg this man to come from a vision from God. And they give an elaborate description and tell all the reasons why Cornelius is not a bad guy. And really, you should really come and see him. And by the time Cornelius meets Peter, what does Cornelius do? He doesn't stand up as the power person. He falls down at Peter's feet. Because he felt himself to be a marginal person. And Peter is the representative of God. After all, it was an angel from God who appeared to him and told him to send for this man. And Cornelius feared that God. And so Peter feels marginalized. He feels like he's the oppressed one. And Cornelius also feels marginalized and disconnected. And he doesn't know how to connect to God. It's interesting because so often we are so conscious of our own marginalized status, our own victimization, our own status as the oppressed person, as the outsider, that we forget that everybody is other to somebody. We forget that. It strikes me. It's interesting. We talk about Jesus sending people to the ends of the earth. And we think of Africa. Well, let me tell you, I live in Africa and the U.S. is the ends of the earth. Everybody is marginal to somebody. Everybody is other to somebody. And we are in a context culturally where there seems to be a race to claim the flag of being the worst victim. That's what breaks my heart. We forget. We forget that it's not just to the powerless, so-called, that we are called, but to the powerful. Right. We forget that. Even though Cornelius is powerful, he is the marginalized other who falls down before Peter and worship. He needs the oppressed minority to come to him, to unfold for him a bigger vision of who God is. And Peter and Cornelius, in verse 26, I'm almost finished, reach this moment, this moment of understanding. Cornelius is falling down. Peter picks him up and he says, I'm also just a man. For the first time, no, hold on. I'm not ready for you yet. Go back and sit down. Go back. Are y'all? Be cool. They come to this moment of understanding. And they cease to see each other simply through the lens of difference and differentiation and distance and opposition. But they recognize that each of them needs the other. There's a recognition. For Peter to get a more complete and full understanding of the gospel, he needs Cornelius. He needs Cornelius. Because even though Peter was saved, and even though he knew that Jesus was the Messiah, and even though he theoretically understood that salvation was for everyone, he needed to cross a boundary for God to enlarge his heart and his understanding. He needed to confront his prejudice of the other. He needed to confront his fear of the other. He needed to confront his disdain of the other. He needed to confront his anger at the other. He had to do it. And each one of us have every opportunity to stay in our corner and be angry. And honestly, some of us have more right than others. But at the foot of the cross, all of us are called to cross uncomfortable boundaries so that we may understand the gospel more. It's a hard thing to say. And a critical thing happens. Peter doesn't talk. He doesn't start launching in with an exposition of who Jesus is. He doesn't talk. He's been given an opportunity. He's been given an opportunity and he doesn't talk. The first thing he says, tell me. Tell me why you say it. He listens. He listens.